Hey folks, it's Ardwulf. Welcome. We have an unboxing today of a brand new product, BCS Arracourt, from Multiman Publishing, series designer Dean Essig and game designer Carl Fung. This is the latest in the BCS Battalion Combat series, and it is much anticipated by a lot of folks. I feel like there is a big surge in interest in BCS over this last, say, year or two. And there's a ton of stuff in the works for BCS, and this is going to be, I think, an optimal starting place for the series. Now, there's some reasonably small games in the series already, but Baptism by Fire is 2 maps, Brazen Chariots is 3 maps, but those are kind of high-density games. They're both in North Africa. Some people, including myself, just aren't super into that. So this looks like a really nice entry-level game in the BCS series. It's 1 map, it's 1 counter. Actually, I think it's 2 counter sheets. We're going to find out in a second. So it is in the 1.5" standard multi-man box. The counters and the hexes are going to be bigger than you might anticipate, so bear that in mind. Complexity medium, solitaire suitability medium high is what it looks like. So let's open her up and see what we get. Not the first unboxing video of this, but that's okay. There was a small hiccup regarding my credit card info with Multiman, and it took me a few days to get a hold of them and get that sorted out. So, opening up the box, we have the traditional Multiman Publishing Contents card. Arracourt should contain 1 box and a lid, 1 22 by 34-inch map sheet, 2 counter sheets, 1 BCS 2.0 series rulebook, 1 Arracourt specific rulebook, 1 BCS support rulebook 2.0, 2 BCS charts and tables 2.0, 1 turn record track, and 2 6-sided dice. So, stick that there for now. Here's 1 die. Here's another die. I, of course, will, have my own dice, so that's fine. So, we got the game-specific rules. We have a charts and tables card. We'll look at all these doodads in a moment. We have the series rules. We have the turn record track and display. We have 1 map. We have the second counter sheet. The second charts and tables card. A second die, which I can actually get out. And the 2.0 series support book. So this is kind of like a little bit of a rules overview type of giving you additional context and commentary and primer material. Has been in the last couple of games in the series, and it is welcome because BCS, if you don't know, has some really interesting, innovative, and different things going on that a lot of people, including myself, kind of struggled to grasp the first time or two around. I will recommend that you check out the channel The Tabletop's Edge. Doug over at The Tabletop's Edge has a great playthrough series of The Last Blitzkrieg, which is the first game in the series, but he's using the current rules. It's a great series of videos. It's one of the best playthrough series I've ever seen, and it is ongoing as of this filming. So, let's do the rulebook first. Let's do the series rulebook first. Okay, so this is a 48-page satin finish, full-color rulebook. Now, print size is, I'd say, about average, certainly average for Multiman. This is the 2.0 rules. There are some subtle but significant differences between the early versions of the game, the 1.0, 1.2, or whatever it was, rules, and this 2.0 set. And like I said, the differences are fairly subtle, but they are significant, and it is believed that version 2 here is going to be the going version for the foreseeable future, because it's really solid. So, good explanations, clear explanations. Difficult concepts, new concepts in the early book were difficult to explain. One of the great things about, say, the OCS rulebook is it's a big rulebook, right? But it has been polished over the years to a mirror finish, and so it's a really great rulebook. Not necessarily to learn the game from, but that's what the series support book is intended to help with, but for reference at the table. So, even though this book is 40-plus pages, there's really only like 35 pages of actual rules. And the rest of it, we got a nice glossary, which is a nice addition. We have a series index. We have a different examples of different types of armor value. AV is armor value. The index looks good. Index looks very good. exhaustive index, which is great. I always like to see an index, and this is pretty obviously, and I mean, it looks at a glance like an index that wasn't put together by Microsoft Word. So that's always a positive thing too. Unit capabilities chart. One of the interesting things about BCS is that the units actually get used the way they got used historically. That's certainly true for World War II. The series is about to be extended in the next volume to non-World War II topics. The next game in the series is on the Arab-Israeli Wars, which is a topic I know very little about and am not really particularly interested in, but I intend to pick the game up and might even play it for the sake of it being BCS. So the game-specific rules is a 16-page rulebook. The Battle for Lorraine, 1944. This is black and white, matte finish, on a very heavy, traditional MMP, the Gamers style paper. We've got scenarios in here. Let's actually look at the scenarios. Okay. Scenarios start with 5.1, Patton versus Manteuffel, the Arracourt campaign. This is 13 turns. Okay, it does say playing area for the full map, because remember, it's only one map. The Battle of well, that's actually scenario 3. Saga of the Panzer Brigades, full map, 5 turns. Battle of Luneville, looks like it's roughly half the map, but it's only 2 turns. Patton's Vanguard, looks like it's also roughly half the map, and it's 12 turns. And then we have the Battle of Arracourt itself. Remember, this is an operational series. Is about half the map, and it's 4 turns. And then Ghost Division, about half the map, and it's 4 turns. So, and then we have, of course, our replacements. Designer's notes from Mr. Fung. Order of battle notes, which I imagine Mr. Fung did the order of battle as well, since he is possibly the best in the business at it. Certainly one of the best in the business. Nice bibliography here, including Hugh Cole's, some of Hugh Cole's stuff. For example, there's some very interesting looking things here, at least one of which I believe I have personally. Yes, indeed. Okay, so that's interesting. And then we have the series support book. Now this we're back to, this is 24 pages, and we're back to the full color satin finish. But full color is really just kind of, you know, a few highlights and stuff in here. And again, this is commentary. This is, you know, approach discussion, some discussion of what makes the BCS series interesting and unique. Here's a complete activation example. German reactivation, activation sequence flowchart. I'm not sure that you need, well, you know what? It's a good idea to have it, right? It's a good idea to have it. I'm not sure that the activation sequence is complicated enough to warrant a flowchart, but it's here, and it's good that it's here. ZOC types and effects chart, assignment procedure chart. So a lot of helpful stuff that you might otherwise have to go to like BGG or Consim World for is right there. Let's take a look at the player aid cards. Essentially, everything runs off of this thing. So you've got your sequence of play and activation checklist, how activations work, recovery of failure flip activations, and then looking at the actual resolution tables, which are pretty much right here. So the tables in BCS are simple enough, and this happens elsewhere in Dean Essig's designs too, including in OCS and in BCS or SCS in places. In places in OCS, BCS is pretty simple all around. But some of the tables in here are so simple that you're going to end up memorizing them if you play BCS for any length of time, like the snafu table. I mean, I've memorized the snafu table, and I've played BCS, I think, 3 times for a total of, I don't know, 6 or 8 hours. And it's been a while, right? So the tables are relatively straightforward. There are DRMs that happen regularly, but there's not that many. It's a pretty easy system to play once you get the hang of it. This turn record track card pretty much has a turn record track, a weather track, a terrain key. Now, something like Panzer's Last Stand, which is the last BCS game, that's got a bit more to it. There's some extra stuff going on there. Replacements as well. And remember, a turn here is a day. So you've got quite a bit of, you know, you got a couple of weeks of play here. Now, you might think, hey, these look like bigger counters than usual, then you're right. These look to me like 5/8" counters, and I believe that they are. We got the Americans in green, some Free French down here, and the Germans in gray, along with what looks like some Luftwaffe guys. Now, the beats of the game run off of the formations. So these are some of the formation markers. These are the actual formation markers, and then there's a headquarters that is. So we have the headquarters counters here. This is CCA of the 4th Armored Division, I presume. And then they have a formation marker that's up here that's used for certain things. So you see that the Americans have 9 headquarters, and the Germans have 6, or I should say 9 formations, and the Germans have 6 formations or commands. A lot of times the command here corresponds to division, but sometimes it is a regiment or brigade-sized group, which I expected to be the case here in Arracourt. So we have the 3 combat commands from 4th Armored, for example. We have CCB of the 6th Armored. We have the 2nd Cavalry Group. So a lot of these, and yet the infantry divisions, at least 2 of the infantry divisions, 35th and 79th, are in fact just divisions. And of course the scale is battalions, right? I expect to see, and I do in fact see up here and such, some company-sized units, but the basic scale is battalions, thus battalion combat series. There's a few markers along the bottom, and then we get 1 full sheet of markers. And this stuff is on a thick-feeling white core stock. Not extreme thick, but not extremely thick. It feels real good. I'm not sure if I'm gonna clip and do anything with these markers or not. I mean, I have my standard system series tray for BCS, but maybe I'll do a storage video on this. I'm going to have very little trouble fitting all this in the box, and I probably will, just for the sake of making it portable, even if a bunch of this has to go in a baggie, I probably will end up punching and clipping that. Let's take a quick look at the map, and you'll notice, of course, that a little harder to tell than it is with the counters, but you'll notice that the hexes are oversized as well. So you got a nice little area here. I don't know what the unit scale is. It does vary a little bit from game to game in the case of BCS. I know that it's usually around a mile per hex, but it can vary a little bit. So here is Luneville, here is Arracourt, and here is Chateau Salines. Probably mispronouncing those names, but nobody's watching my videos for correct French pronunciation. If you are in the wrong place. So standard DNESing style looking map. We do have some rail lines on the map. Not sure if that means anything in this particular context or not. Maybe it doesn't. Didn't really look through the game specific rules yet. So BCS Arracourt in my greedy little hands, and we'll be getting punched starting this evening, the counterclipping stream. So tune in for the counterclipping stream on Monday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern if you don't already. If you found the video useful, please do give it a thumbs up. Please do subscribe to the channel and click the little bell icon to get notified when new content comes out. If you'd like to help support the channel, please check out the links in the video description to the Patreon, the merch store, and the Ko-Fi. Again, thanks for watching, and happy wargaming.